Good morning. Welcome to Evangeline Mornings on UGN's Louisiana Television. I'm Nancy Kay. Joining us right now, Jillian Dickerson with Bettr Business Bureau of Acadiana, I should say.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, Jillian.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. Now, why don't you start with telling us a little bit about the Bettr Business Bureau? Well, first of all, what's your role in there?
I'm the president and CEO of the Bettr Business Bureau. We have a staff of about 8, 5 that are full-time and 3 that are part-time, and we serve all of Acadiana, which includes Acadia Parish, Evangeline Parish, Iberia Parish, St. Landry, St. Martin, Vermilion, and Lafayette Parish.
Wow, that's a big area right there.
It is, but we're really excited to be a cornerstone of Acadiana and be able to serve all of our surrounding areas.
I'm surprised you have such a small staff for that big of an area.
I'm working on growing that staff.
Okay,
we could
good.
use the help. We are a nonprofit. We're a nonprofit reporting agency. We've been established in Lafayette since 1975, and we're always looking for ways to give back and support consumers and the business community.
And you're part of the National Bettr Business Bureau.
We are. We are a charter member of the International Association of Better Businesses, and the IABBB helps set the rigorous standards. You've heard of accreditation. You've seen our logos in the window of businesses, on websites as an accredited business, and the association sets those standards, and we help uphold those standards in Acadiana.
Very good. Now, can you go a little bit more with the mission and what kind of standards that, that you guys have? Yeah.
Our mission and vision is trust in the marketplace for businesses and consumers, and that can look like a lot of different things.
Yes.
It's reporting bad actors in the community, whether that's businesses, situations that consumers find themselves in, scammers that may be in our area, or targeting people in our area. We have something called Scam Tracker on bbb.org. It is an international database, and the database is where consumers can go and report information if they've been scammed by email, if there's something going on in our area. It's how we know what's happening where.
Nice. And what types of scams are out there?
Oh, goodness.
I mean, I know we have like the ones from other countries that try to call us, but as far as like businesses go that y'all would get into.
Unfortunately, we have seen scammers use information of businesses and pretend that they're that company.
Right.
A lot of times utility companies, they'll say, hi, I'm with LUS, Cleco, Slimco. Doesn't matter what utility company. They even say your cell phone company. I'm with AT&T.
Yes, I get
Verizon.
those messages all the time on my phone. It drives me nuts.
I love when they call and say, oh, I want to cut your bill in half with AT&T. And I'm like, I'm a Verizon customer.
Do your research, buddy.
Exactly. So it's a lot of different things going on, and a lot of times we'll see scams happen in other parts of the country or internationally, and it's going to make its way to Acadiana. So by having our consumers be educated and know about Scam Tracker, they can go and put in scams that they've witnessed, not just anything that's happened to someone something that happened to you directly.
Right.
And that way we can keep track and keep other consumers educated.
And as you educate more and more people, and we hear about it on TV, we read about it in the news, do you think scammers are getting more creative now?
You'll see a cycle of scams, and at first it was something maybe using phone numbers. Well, then it turned into text messages. Now it's emails. Now it's social media scams. A lot of times we'll see social media pages. You think it's your grandmother or your mom or your best friend, and all of a sudden they're sending you weird things. That's a red flag. Go ahead and reach out to your contact. Let them know, I think you've been hacked. Reset your password. Make sure that you're keeping your password safe and secure. Never give out your social security number. Your bank's not going to call you.
Right.
I mean, there's so many different versions. And one thing that we've seen recently that is just so sad to me, we're seeing people reach out and there's job seeking scams. We have a lot of people that are looking to be employed right now. And we have a few tips on how to protect yourself. A lot of times, if someone's offering you something that sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Of course.
So it's being aware, if there's a question, call the Bettr Business Bureau and we can help you figure that out.
I know I'm overly cautious when it comes to that, because one time my bank actually called me and said, hey, we need to give you a new debit card. Can we get your information just to make sure it's you? I'm like, I don't know if it's you. Like, give me a number, call back. He's like, okay, well, and they will tell me, here's the number, and I go and I look it up to make sure it's aligned with my bank, and it is. And what happened was somebody had taken, my credit card information. So they said, were you in New Jersey recently? I said, no, I was not in New Jersey. So they said, okay, we'll send you another card and we'll remove the charges. And said, awesome.
And Bettr Business Bureau often works with large companies to make sure that there's some fraud protection in place, making sure like, hey, we're getting a lot of reports of scams with PayPal or Venmo. Well, BBB contacted PayPal and they were able to discuss what we were seeing, and PayPal was able to do something on the back end to help protect consumers.
Oh, you guys are really thorough.
We try to be, and when you have a network of 104 locations, we're really covering Canada, the United States, I believe the Caribbean, and Mexico.
My goodness. Yeah, that's a big area, but I'm so glad you guys exist, to help consumers and businesses alike. So what are some of the programs that are offered by the Bettr Business Bureau, specifically in Acadiana?
So in Acadiana, we offer business accreditation, and that is an application process. BBB will do our research, make sure that all licenses are required, make sure that you meet our 7 standards of trust that are set by the International Association of BBBs, and this helps make your business better. Excuse me.
Sure.
And this helps you be better by making sure you're doing everything that you can. Even if you don't know about it, we're going to help educate you, and it helps have a better marketplace to where consumers can come to BBB.org, look at business profiles, whether you're accredited or not. It's a free service that the BBB provides. And there's reviews and complaints that can be filed. Our reviews range from positive to negative, but the businesses always have an opportunity to respond. It is not just, it's a verified review. We're going to verify that there's something happening, that there was an interaction between the consumer and the business.
That's what I was about to ask you, because they have a lot of different reviews that you could do now, like a Google review or a Yelp review, and a lot of times those are not accredited. It's just somebody heard something bad about the business owner and they go and they just make a false claim, say, oh, they're bad people. I had a bad experience there.
Right.
But so you guys actually do the research.
We do the research and make sure that there was an interaction, and the business has the opportunity to respond. And we're a neutral third party. We're not trying to take the side of the consumer or the business, whether they're accredited or not. We're just trying to help find a resolution.
Right. You just present the information and try to, I admire that a lot, because like I said, those other reviews, it's crazy what they write about. It's a place they've never been to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll see these reviews they'll respond on the BBB Serving Acadiana Google page, but they really meant another location, or they were trying to leave a review for the business that has nothing to do with the Bettr Business Bureau.
Right. Yeah. So I imagine you guys get a lot of complaints though, right?
We do daily. I have a great operations team that go out of their way to make sure our consumers are heard and that complaints are heard, verified. There are some things that are going to, when we go through the process, excuse me.
Sure.
When you go through the process, we're making sure that our consumers and our businesses have had this interaction, and you may be applying for a complaint and submitting for a complaint, but it's really a business review. So our team will help guide you in that situation to let you know if it's a complaint or a review.
And do you ever get businesses or consumers who just disagree with your your findings, and they get angry with you? And
we do receive some angry phone calls and angry businesses, but for the most part, people want what's best for our community and best for our business marketplace. So it's few and far between. Like I said, we're trying to be a neutral third party, so we're not taking sides. We're just presented with facts and have to weed out what's going on and how can we come to a resolution for that, where the business is happy and the consumer's happy.
Now, how do the ratings work?
The ratings are based on an algorithm. It takes into consideration several things: how long you've been in business, complaints, reviews that you've received, if you've responded to those complaints and reviews. We always, you'll see our accredited businesses have to have a B+ or better to apply. Accreditation is not available to every business. You have to meet our standards. And it is something that you believe in the mission of the BBB, and your accreditation has a lot of value added to it. This year we'll start for our accredited businesses. It started last year with Rise and Grind, which is our quarterly coffee series where we bring in a speaker that kind of like a lunch and learn, but over
like
coffee.
That, yeah.
Something different.
Rise and Grind. Successful. I like the title of that.
Thank you. It was very successful last year. We're excited to get started. I believe our next one is in March, and that's available to accredited businesses. We also have our Business Bites program that's starting this year. That'll be a quarterly event where people can join us for appetizers and networking.
Nice.
We're going to be at different accredited businesses across the parishes and invite people to join us.
That sounds wonderful. And I want to get some more information from you. We'll take a little break. And I want to hear more about some of the other things that you guys have, like a monthly impact initiative and a scholarship. And
Yes.
so we have a lot more to talk about.
Yes.
Okay, we'll be right back with Jillian Dickerson with Bettr Business Bureau. You're watching Evangeline Mornings on UGN's Louisiana Television.
Be strong and courageous. That's the message Jesus has for you if you're injured or ill. Keep your eyes on Christ and let us at Fontenot Physical Therapy and Fontenot Physical Therapy West help you run the race. Fear is useless. Just trust in Jesus and let us help you have hope in your future. Have a happy new year and God bless you.
Welcome back to Evangeline Mornings on UGN's Louisiana Television. I'm Nancy Kay, joined with Jillian Dickerson here with the Bettr Business Bureau of Acadiana chapter. And we were just talking about the rating system. Now, what's the worst rating?
The worst rating you can have as a business is an F. And that can happen to an accredited business or a non-accredited business. And if that happens, your accreditation is reviewed and possibly revoked. We set a high standard at BBB so that when you have that accredited business seal or you see that BBB logo as accredited business, you know it means something, and it means something positive.
Right. You definitely have to, keep your standards up.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to have all requirements for the state. That's not set by BBB. Those are the requirements of the state. And sometimes we come across businesses that want to be accredited and they thought they had everything they needed and they don't. So we help educate them on what they need and they can become eligible for accreditation.
So what would happen if someone, a business was at an A and then they went to a D or an F? So what kind of
it's a process. It could be something that was happening on their side of the business. Maybe a new employee left. Maybe the owner doesn't know of a situation that's happening. So a lot of times it's good for the business to hear these reviews and complaints so that they can fix whatever the situations are.
Right. I agree with that wholeheartedly. You always want to hear the criticism, and just, obviously not all the criticism is going to be, the most helpful, but most of it I think will be. It makes you, because it helps to make you better. Like, take the ego out of it and just say, oh, how am I going to improve my business?
It is.
Yeah.
And sometimes consumers are upset when we're like, okay, well, it's not a complaint, it's a review.
Right.
Or, you know what, you're leaving a review, but we think this should be a complaint. There's different qualifications for each. And our businesses are a lot of times happy to get that feedback. They don't want upset customers.
Right.
And sometimes it's a way for them to know what's going on, and they do what they can to address it with the help of BBB.
Very good. And now you keep talking about the accreditation of the business. What else do they need for an A rating?
It depends on how to be eligible. You have to have 6 months of accreditation. 6 months of being in business, all of your licensing and permit, commit to our 7 standards of trust. And you go through a little bit of an investigation process. Investigation almost has a negative connotation, but in this case, we're just making sure you have everything that you need so that consumers make an informed decision. A lot of times our consumers are going to bbb.org and reviewing profiles. We have over 15,000 profiles of businesses in the Acadiana area. And out of those profiles, you have ratings, and that's where you can see the ratings, reviews, and complaints.
Very good.
And you can read the responses from the businesses as well.
Very helpful. And what are the 7 standards of trust? I'm interested in that.
Be transparent, be kind, be cognizant, Ooh,
That's
put me
okay.
on the spot, Nancy.
That's okay. But it almost sounds like kind of like a Rotary Club thing, you know, like.
It's like
Yeah.
taking a pledge.
Yes, that's what it sounds like.
Be responsive. It's something that when you say you're accredited, you're going to respond to any reviews or
Yes.
complaints quickly within a very quick time frame and turnaround, and it's monitored by our Better Business Bureau team.
Yeah, I think transparency is very important because if you're hiding something that doesn't look good on your part, and the consumer is going to be a little suspicious, and everyone else. So I want to get into a little more right now about you. Earlier, we were talking before the break about a monthly impact initiative. What is that about?
It started last year, or a little bit before the pandemic started. The BBB team and staff get together and volunteer. Once a month, we'll take half a day or a full day, depending on what the event is, and we either do a donation drive or go out and volunteer. Yes. We are a nonprofit. We understand what it means to fundraise, and that donations and community partnerships really make the world go round, especially in the nonprofit world.
Of course. Yeah.
So while we work with businesses, we are responsible for fundraising and supporting our events. So giving back was just one more way to support consumers and businesses. We've done everything from work at St. Joseph's Diner in Lafayette. We're getting ready to do a cleanup in our area.
Good.
Our office is in Lafayette, but we serve all of Acadiana.
I'm sure the community appreciates that. Have they been very receptive? And
They have.
They've been more, I guess, educated about Better Business Bureau through these actions that you're doing, right?
Yes, it's a little bit of community awareness, and sometimes our businesses or consumers volunteer with us. It's a great time and opportunity to get involved. We next month will be at the University of Louisiana at Lafayette. They have a career closet.
My alma mater.
Yeah, mine too. Go
Yeah, love it.
Cajuns.
Yep.
And we have they have a career closet in the Career Center, and they're taking donations of blazers, suits, women's dresses for
love
students
that.
to go and do interviews or conferences, and they're presenting a paper. And I don't know if you remember being a college student, but I didn't have the money to go and buy a new suit every time
I didn't.
had an event come up.
No.
So it's a great way that they started this for the students. Volunteers go in and help clean the items, hang them up, size them by categories.
I love that. I wish that was there at the time. I mean, I didn't have
too.
much that I had to go out professionally, but I did have an internship my last semester, and it was, you know, I had to have some things nice, but
Right.
when you're a broke college student, it's hard to find all that.
Exactly. So it was, I volunteered with them once before, and being able to go back with the BBB team is very fulfilling.
I really love that idea. Go Cajuns. I love it.
Go Cajuns.
Yep. And also, speaking of education, now you do have a scholarship program.
We started the inaugural scholarship program. It's Students of Integrity, and we offered a $500 scholarship to a trade school recipient, a community college recipient, and a university recipient.
Okay,
So we gave out
very good.
$1,500 in 2021, and we were really excited and proud of the students that applied.
I know the students are excited too,
Yes.
because with the rising cost of tuition and everything these days, I know that's going to help them a lot with their books and
It
their
is.
supplies and everything
And
else.
they wrote very great responses to our question of what does trust mean to you?
That's wonderful.
Right.
Maybe you can add some of those to the 7 standards of trust.
Yes, yes.
And let's see. So we talked about scams already that people need to watch out for, and some of the other scams. Did you ever find any in education-wise, like? Because we were just talking about education. I'm wondering, like, are there school scams out there? And
There are a lot of times it's just a different twist on a different scam.
yeah,
So you may have someone calling pretending to be from University of Louisiana, telling you that your student loan needs to be paid or you're going to be turned over to the police. Well, that's not how student loans work. No one from the university is going to call you and threaten you with that. There's a process
Right.
that's followed. If something sounds too good to be true, ask for their name, hang up, do a quick internet search, find a phone number to call directly. Don't use the number that's offered to you by the person on the phone or by email,
right.
and call them directly to see if you can verify that person.
Good. Yeah, I know we had already mentioned scams, but since we were talking about education, I just had to put that out there
Sure.
because so many people have student loans these days. Because way back when, our parents' generation, our grandparents, they didn't have to really worry about student loans.
They
because
didn't.
I remember my dad saying, you know, tuition for him, I think was I don't know, a couple $100s for a summer semester.
I wish.
Like, I wish, exactly. So I didn't mean to get sidetracked with education, but is there anything else we should know about the Better Business Bureau?
So coming up in April, we're having a barbecue cook-off. It's our way of raising funds for the scholarship program, and we would love to have Evangeline Parish contestants.
Oh, of course. So how can they get in touch with you for either the program or if anyone wants to join the Better Business Bureau? So how do they get in touch?
bbb.org, or you can email us at info@acadiana.bbb.org.
Okay, very good. Now, is there anything else you wanted to add about the Better Business Bureau? Or
We're just excited to be a part of Evangeline Parish, a part of Evangeline Mornings this morning, and being able to be a part of the Evangeline Chamber is a great way for us to give back to the community and the business community.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you before, I usually ask this to all my guests, so what are your biggest challenges?
Biggest challenges right now would be the pandemic. Businesses are they believe in trust and integrity in the marketplace. They want to become accredited, but everyone's tightening the purse strings right now.
Right.
And understandable, but this is the perfect time to show that you believe in trust and integrity in the marketplace, and having that BBB accreditation speaks a lot to your consumers.
It does. And also, what do you love the most about your job? Because we talk about, what are the challenges, the most difficult aspects, but what do you love most about what you do?
It is so rewarding and fulfilling. When you help a consumer who has been scammed and help them find a resolution, or being able to give back to the community, to be able to volunteer with your colleagues is such a joy. Everything about the BBB, I'm just so passionate about my community and any way that we can make it better. And what better way to make it better than our marketplace?
I agree 100%. I'm so glad that you joined us here today, Jillian. You've given us a lot of knowledge, and I know the businesses around here are grateful once they watch this episode. I think you're going to get some more people registering with the BBB.
We'd love to have you.
Well, thank you again, Jillian. I hope you come back again. We'd like to see you regularly, actually, on the show to update us what's happening with everything. So I appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, you're watching Evangeline Mornings on UGN's Louisiana Television. We'll be back after this.
Before John DeVille and his staff can unlock the doors, there's a gathering outside of the Cajun Catfish Steakhouse and Buffet, 1452 Highway 167 North, Ville Platte, Louisiana. His staff would like to invite you in for a dining experience you won't forget. From fruits and salads made fresh every day to a spacious environment to stretch your legs out and loosen your belt loop. Enjoy Central Louisiana's best in seafood and steak. The Cajun Catfish Steakhouse and Buffet, 1452 Highway 167 North, Ville Platte, Louisiana.
Hi, my name is Ian Fontenot, and I'm with Cajun Broadband, and I get internet way out here. Oh, I got a tweet. So what's good about Cajun Broadband, you got a local company, you got local customer support, you got small businesses, couldn't even have a peace of mind knowing that their security cameras work in the evening, because the service just wasn't up to par. And we come in and we're an option, and we're a local option.
At 1319 South Chautauqua Road is Paul's Specialty Meat Market and Grocery, where fresh meat and good service equal a great experience. Specializing in smoked meats, specialty meats such as stuffed roast, holiday turduckens, boudin, crackling, fryers stuffed with crawfish and cornbread, and large freezer specials, providing fresh smoked meats to the community for 27 years. That's Paul's Specialty Meats and Grocery, 1319 South Chautauqua Road, Ville Platte, Louisiana, where fresh meat and good service equal a great experience.
And welcome back to Evangeline Mornings on UGN's Louisiana Television. I'm Nancy Kay, joined right now with Evangeline Parish Coalition Coordinator Lorenzo Richard.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it because you are a very busy man.
Yes, I am.
You were involved in a lot of different organizations, but you are a big community activist.
Yes.
And so one of your activities in particular is Crew the Evangeline Coalition, and you're also a mentor. And what's your mentoring group?
The mentoring organization that I have is called Men of Class.
Men of Class. I like that. And what do y'all do with Men of Class?
So Men of Class is a mentoring organization where we mentor a lot of the young men throughout the parish in areas of their lives where men are missing. So we play somewhat of a substitute in their lives.
That's wonderful. So what do you do? Like you kind of teach them?
In conjunction with Crudy Evangeline Coalition, we are able to provide them with free life skills. We provide them with social skills, communication skills, and also job searching skills as well.
That's wonderful. I'm glad that you do that. And also, you're a member of the Louisiana State Team of Strategic Planning. Now, what is that?
Louisiana Team of Strategic Planning is what we do is we help a lot of our local areas. As far as I know, we did, it was...
You're involved in so much stuff, it's hard to remember.
But what we do is we help you to come up with your strategic plan for your business or for your organization, and we kind of help you thoroughly with that.
Very good. And also you're on the the Louisiana team of opioids?
Correct. Opioids, yes.
Yes. And so what do you do with that?
So what we do is we work along in conjunction with some of the organizations who service substance abuse. And opioids is something that's kind of up on the uprise right now.
Right.
So what we do is we work with them to help them to develop some type of initiatives in their communities to raise awareness about the opioids.
Okay, very good. Now let's go to Crudy Evangeline Coalition.
Yes.
Now, what is that primarily about?
Crudy Evangeline Coalition is geared around underage drinking. Our mission is to see the reduction of the underage drinking numbers decline in the parish. And when we say decline in the parish, those numbers came about because here in Evangeline Parish, along with a host of other parishes, the underage drinking numbers were higher than the state level.
Yeah, I believe that because I grew up in Evangeline Parish.
And it's so funny to say because our parish, along with a host of others, alcohol is just kind of a part of the culture here that was just developed throughout the culture here.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Like my uncle used to give my cousin when we were kids like just a sip of beer. You know, it's just.
Yes.
I tried it the first time and I spit it out. I was like, how could anyone drink that? And to this day, I don't like beer.
Yeah.
But I do remember high school, and there was nothing to do around town except burn gas going from one end of town to the other, or you just go drink or at someone's house. Yeah.
And you find that a lot, you know, when I took this position and really got into it and seen the researching, you find a lot of that in your rural development areas because there's not a lot for our youth to do throughout the parish.
That's what I was going to ask.
So their outlets, sometimes they turn to alcohol for that, you know, for that escape and for fun.
Right. And so how did Crudy Evangeline get started?
Crudy Evangeline got started. Crudy Evangeline got started. St. Landry Parish was the first one to have the program in the area. And they were searching for someone to take that position. And it was a position, it was like, we need someone that's really involved into the community, that's a people's person. They said, we've been trying to initiate this organization for 5 years. So I sat on the youth advisory board in St. Landry Parish, and then the position was offered to me for Evangeline Parish. So that's how we got started.
Very good. And so you were just eager to just take that on? And
I was just eager to take it on, not only just to take it on, but just to make a difference in our parish, because I love my parish and I love youth, and I've also had a love and a passion for serving youth. So what better way to do that is to bring awareness to our parish and our youth.
That's good. And I have seen you in action before at Ville Platte High with, you had a group of kids there in the little auditorium, and you had special guest speakers, and what else do you do? Like what kind of ways do you have to reach them, to reach the kids?
So we have, when we develop our action plan from the state of Louisiana, we have a media campaign. Well, what we use at our media campaign is we use that source to implement positive impacts in the community as far as positive messaging throughout the community. We also do the implementation of life skills and positive action curriculum. Those two curriculums are evidence-based curriculums, which means we can track data from those two curriculums. We were very, very fortunate. We thank God for the opportunity that we were able to form a partnership with Evangeline Parish School Board. So they allowed us to go into the schools to teach life skills and positive action. We implement those two programs also with community action. They have a after-school program called Grace. We go and implement life skills with their youth every Thursday.
Okay, very good. And I imagine your mentoring skills help help out a lot
Yes,
with that.
It really
Yeah.
does. And we're happy, of course, with my personal organization, Men of Class, we also provide free life skills there as well.
Awesome. And I think it's very important for the kids to have something to do, even if it's just one day a week, because it keeps them out of trouble, keeps them from hanging out with the wrong people after school. And have the students been very receptive?
Thank God the students have been very well receptive. We take life skills for us. I know, it's a job, but we talk about it all the time because another one of the facilitators is Miss Kizzy Shelvin. For us, it's not just a job, it's a mission. It's a calling. We do what we do from the heart. I mean, a lot of the kids express themselves. We give them an opportunity to express themselves. How are they feeling? What are some of the things that they're going through? How can we be of an asset to them? Life Skills has been very well receptive throughout the community, especially in the schools. We've seen a very big impact, not only to us from the coalition, but to the kids that participate in the program. There's no better feeling than meeting a lot of the kids after school and them giving you a hug in Walmart or telling you, thank you so much for what you're doing. I really, really enjoyed it. It's really helped to shift my life in a different direction.
I like this a lot, the approach that you guys take, because I remember getting these kinds of, I'll call them lectures, growing up as kids in school and high school and all that, but mostly elementary. But it's people who would come in and they would just kind of lecture you. You guys hear them out.
We hear them out.
And you get to know them as people and you hear what's going on in their lives and you work with them. That's what I like about it. You take it on a personal level and the kids feel like they are heard.
Yes, we give them that free opportunity to express themselves.
Yeah.
We try not to be so classroomish, as may say. We give them, free opportunity, express yourself, how you feeling, what are you going through?
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you've been through? And the kids really open up. I think what really shocked me was whenever we had a student and one of the students said, this is a very touchy subject for me. But they said at the end of this course, I was able to face that demon that I was facing, that I faced in my home. Because we had, one of the students, their parents was alcoholic. And I was like, I'm so grateful for this course. Now I'm able to feel like I can move on and move forward from what I've been through.
That must be the best feeling.
It's the best
to hear
feeling.
that.
I mean, honestly, and I'll be very transparent. There's sometimes whenever I leave these classrooms that I actually sit in my car and cry.
Yeah.
Because it makes me feel so good to know that what we're doing is actually making a difference. And it's totally shifting the mind frame of our youth throughout the schools and in the community. And that's, I know our number one key is to reach the community about underage drinking, but through Life Skills, we're able to kind of wiggle our way in to pull a lot of that hurt, pull a lot of that anger out of those kids and what they're going through. They just want to be heard.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's so important,
Yes.
and why you guys are making the success
Yes.
that you are, because
Yes.
like I said, it's different. You don't want to sit there and be lectured. You're not going to
No.
really pay
No.
attention. But if you feel that you're being heard, then you're going to have more of an
Yes.
impact. What are some of the reasons that kids start underage drinking or doing drugs? Because I know you're on the opioid board as well. So what are some of the reasons they would do this?
I mean, there's so many reasons. I can write a novel, I can write a book, I can write a short story. But just to tackle a few, peer pressure. Peer pressure is one. We have a lot of kids who deal with a lot of peer pressure. We have a lot of kids that deal with not having enough. And when I say with not having enough attention. A lot of our kids here in the rural development areas, their parents have to work a 9 to 5.
Yes.
After that 5 o'clock, they're hitting a 5 to 12. So they don't get that one-on-one love relationship. So they feel somewhat of a rejection. So some of our kids deal with rejection. They deal with peer pressure. A lot of them deal with self-esteem issues. It's so many things. And I try to tell kids, I said, always speak. The power of the tongue is very powerful.
Yes.
So we try to teach them, when you speak positive about other people, because a lot of kids we found turn to alcohol because of the peer pressure.
I agree with that. And I want to get a little bit more into that, but we have to take a quick break. So we'll be right back. You're watching Evangeline Mornings on UGN's Louisiana Television.
Be strong and courageous. That's the message Jesus has for you if you're injured or ill. Keep your eyes on Christ and let us at Fontenot Physical Therapy and Fontenot Physical Therapy West help you run the race. Fear is useless. Just trust in Jesus and let us help you have hope in your future. Have a happy new year and God bless you.
Hi, my name is Ian Fontenot, and I'm with Cajun Broadband, and I get internet way out here. Oh, I got a tweet. So what's good about Cajun Broadband, you got a local company, you got local customer support, you got small businesses, couldn't even have a peace of mind knowing that their security cameras work in the evening, you know, because the service just wasn't up to par. And we come in and we're an option, and we're a local option.
Welcome back to Evangeline Mornings on UGN's Louisiana Television. I'm Nancy, joined with Lorenzo Richard, big community activist, and we were just talking before the break about the reasons kids do underage drinking or start with drugs, and you said peer pressure is a big one. And I wonder today is, I know stress is also a trigger.
Yes.
Do you think there's more stress today than there was maybe a couple of decades ago?
Well, I could speak from, you know, the era of myself growing up and stress. I think now the kids occur a lot of stress. They acquire a lot of stress. Yeah. And there's so many outlets that those kids grab that stress from. But of course, since the pandemic, you know, even on our coalition, we've done some researching. With that pandemic, it's brought a lot of extra stress upon these kids throughout the communities.
Yes, I've noticed that as well, because I've had friends who've said, like, my kids are not handling this well. They're freaking out. They're worried about this. And and some of them are just getting to college, and then they're finding we have to do all virtual now.
Yes.
And even in high school, they're doing all virtual at one point. So there's,
It was the more so of the adjusting to the new life. Of course,
it was a huge change.
It was a change not only for them, but I mean, you know, for myself, it was stressful at the beginning as well. So I couldn't imagine being a youth or a kid in this era, because my God, it was a very big adjustment when you had to adjust. Yeah.
And what ages do you serve?
We serve kids all the way from ages 5 all the way up to 20, because of course the legal consumption age of alcohol is 21.
Very good. And do you think the kids, like, I know parenting is going to be big, like involving the parents. So let me ask, first of all, how do you get the parents to get involved with their kids and in these kinds of decisions, and what do you tell them to do with the kids?
So what we do with the parents is normally sometimes we'll, on our Facebook page or through social media, or through some church-based organizations, is we hold parent meetings where we bring in the parents and we just talk about certain subjects. We get them comfortable enough to speak with their kids about some of the issues that they're facing, such as underage drinking. We give them innovative ways to bring up the conversation.
Very good. And do you find that the kids actually listen when their parents or someone like you warns them about underage drinking? Because at that age, you usually hear it goes one ear and out the other, and their brains aren't fully developed yet. And when it comes time, like, they know the information, right? But when it comes time and they're at a party or get together, and they fall into that peer pressure. So do you think they're actually listening and trying to implement techniques? Or
from personal testimonials from some of the kids or youth that we've come into contact with, they listen.
Good.
They keep it in. And I'll be transparent. We had one of the kids that came to school the following week and said, "Mr. Lorenzo, we went to a party that they had." I said, "Of course. How was the party?" Said the party was fun. We had a good time. They said we was approached with someone who was trying to get us to consume alcohol. And I said, "Be honest with me. How did you handle it?" They said, "Honestly, I thought about what you said during that class period and I didn't do it." They said, although we had a couple of friends who did try it. And with that being said, is the approach, again, how I approach them. And I tell them, hey, I'm not saying that it's okay, but next time, make sure that friend don't do it. I said, push it and tell them, hey, don't forget what we were taught. Don't forget what they told us in school about substance abuse or about alcohol or consuming alcohol before the age of 21.
Right. Turn the peer pressure around. Make it positive. Look out for your friends.
Yes.
And also reinforcement as well.
We reinforce a lot constantly. I had one of the students said, well, I already know some of this. I said, well, that's fine. It's reinforcement. I said, you're going to be reinforced with this until the day that you die.
Exactly. Why do you think that you have to keep learning the same lessons in school? Like each grade you have to keep reinforcing.
Because it's always advancing.
Exactly. What are some of the consequences of underage drinking and drug use?
Some of the consequences is DUI. A lot of kids get DUI, DWIs. They can get their license taken away. And sadly to say, one of the consequences is you could lose a friend You know, we teach that through the kids through our life skills program. You know, what if you get in the vehicle with someone who's consumed alcohol
Right.
before the age of 21? Or what if you're that person in the driver's seat and something happens that you get in a car accident and then you survive, and then the other 3 passengers who are your very dear friends, they don't survive? How would you handle that consequence?
Right. And overdosing as well, and alcohol
Yes.
poisoning. You
Yes.
could very much lose your
Yes,
life doing
definitely.
that. You can aspirate and all those other kinds of
Definitely.
things. So yeah, there's a lot of dangers. And do they kind of hear that message a
They
lot?
do. They
yeah.
hear it, and when they hear that, they ask a lot of questions. There's a video that we show before we start the curriculum, and it's called a choices video. And it's a reenactment of what could actually happen during the time.
Those are very powerful. I've seen those before.
It's very, very powerful.
Yes. So I know besides alcohol, we talked about opioids, and I think most people, when they hear drug use, they think like the illegal, narcotics. But today, a lot of them are getting into the prescription drug abuse. And I think probably a lot of that, they think, oh, it's a doctor prescribed it, so it's safe. So are you finding a lot of the kids are doing like the prescription drugs, maybe taking from their parents and doing that? Or?
Conversations, we found that some kids have taken some of their parents' medicine or pills or whatever it is. Yeah.
So do you think that's a serious problem as well, and the opioid abuse in general? Because
Yes,
I know you're on the
I
opioid
think
board.
slowly it's on the uprise, and
Yeah.
I think within the next 2 or 3 years we're going to find a lot of that lately, especially dealing with this pandemic and the stress level.
Exactly. So when it comes to, say, rural areas like Evangeline Parish versus larger cities, which group of young people you think is easier to get on board with the program like this? You think it's like the city kids or the little country kids?
I would say it's kind of equal, but if I would weigh it out, I would say maybe the rural development kids, because they don't see a lot, they don't have a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
So when you have a new organization, they really flock to it, and they want to see what it's about. And sometimes they back away because when you start to talk about alcohol and underage drinking, some of our kids in the parish partake in those things.
Right.
So it kind of scares them off. But I've also seen in some of the bigger cities where they flock to it as well. And I also think this, and I believe that it's the approach.
Yes.
It's the approach.
Yeah,
It's
like
the
we were
approach.
saying earlier.
It's
like
all about the approach.
You have to hear
You
them
have
out.
to reach them. You
Yeah.
have to reach them.
And what other organizations does Crew the Evangeline Coalition collaborate with? Because I know there's a network of organizations that help. So like if you have a kid that needs counseling, for instance, or like more counseling, or needs something else, maybe an advocate for court cases and stuff.
We have Visions Counseling Agency here in Ville Platte that has, done a phenomenal job with some of the counseling. We've had a Sexual Assault Center of Evangelist St. Landry. We have the Jacob Crouch Foundation out of Lafayette, Louisiana. So we have a lot. Those were just to name a few.
That's good. And so that's good. So in case you have some kid with like a serious problem,
Yes.
you can send them somewhere and get them help.
Yes.
I think that's wonderful to have. So what have been some of the challenges that you've faced personally with the organizations?
Some of the challenges that I faced personally was to be innovative. Pre-COVID, we were on the move, we were on the rise.
Yes.
And then when COVID came, it kind of, put us to a halt. So one of the challenges was, how can I reinvent the wheel? How can I reinvent the face of our coalition as to get our kids involved now that we didn't really have that one-on-one interaction with them? So I think that was one of the challenges. Another challenge was to get the community to kind of be receptive as to what we wanted to implement in the community, throughout the parish. Because again, when you hear underage drinking, it's kind of cultural, so some people back away or shy back from it. But those were two of the challenges, to kind of name a few.
Okay. And do you ever get maybe one kid that just might break your heart, and you struggle to reach this kid, but you just can't?
Yes,
Yeah.
I've seen it happen numerous occasions.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest part about the job, is
Yeah.
to know when you see the potential in that kid and they don't see it in themselves.
Yeah.
And you work with them for so long, and then you get a phone call, or you get one of the students, or you get somebody off the street say, hey, that particular kid, what you did, it really didn't help them right now. But I believe that just because it doesn't help right now, and they're tomorrow or they're later on, it'll be beneficial for them.
It'll be back in the back of their mind, and it'll click one day.
Yes.
One day it'll click.
Yes.
Now, what's the best part of your job? You kind of already touched on that by saying, like, whenever you get a kid who's successful, who turns, down alcohol at a party or drugs. So what do you love the most?
I think the best part of it is when you see people in the community or youth in the community who tells you, hey, what you're doing is really working. We really appreciate it. And you get some of the kids that say, hey, Mr. Lorenzo, we really appreciate what you're doing. We love this program. Thank you for coming to our basketball games. Thank you for coming to our football games. That's a really good feeling. There's nothing more rewarding than them verbally saying thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, that I could tell that you love what you do.
I love it.
That
I
you're
love
very
it with a
passionate
passion.
about
I'm
it.
very
Yes.
passionate about it.
Well, before we close out, is there anything else you'd like to mention about any of your organizations that you're involved with?
For Cootie Evangeline, I'd like to thank Evangeline Parish School Board for their partnership with us, because we do a youth blast every year for all the 7th graders throughout the parish, and it wouldn't be possible without Evangeline Parish School Board allowing their kids to come in. I also want to thank them for participating in our CCYS data. That is how we get the funding to do all of what we do through a coalition. Without that participation of the CCYS data, there would be no coalition. I want to thank Evangeline Parish for their wonderful support on supporting our coalition. We're so very glad that they were receptive as to what we had. And I want to thank all of the schools, thank all of the people in the parish for really, drawing to what we have.
Good, very good. And how can people get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with us on social media, Facebook. We have Facebook, we have YouTube. Anytime you're in Ville Platte, right by Mercy Regional, you'll see that big billboard.
Yeah.
When you're in Ville Platte.
With your big pretty face on it, with
big
that yellow
pretty face
billboard.
on it. Or even in Mamu, right on the corner of 6th Street, you see we have that billboard there. All of our information is there. If you want to reach us by phone, you can reach us by 337-290-3773.
All right, Lorenzo, thank you so much, and I hope
Thank
you're
you
going
for having us.
I hope you're going to join us again, because
definitely. I'm
you and I
looking
could probably talk
We
all
can
day.
talk. I'm a talker. I can talk all day.
And I love it. I love hearing about things the community
Yeah.
needs and how it's being fulfilled. So thank you for people like you,
Thank you.
for being part of the community.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be back on Evangeline Mornings on UGN's Louisiana Television. Hi, I'm Nancy Kay, host of Evangeline Mornings on UGN's Louisiana Television. Join us weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. for your chance to win a $20 gift card to Cajun Catfish Buffet, courtesy of our sponsor, John DeVille. It's a great show with fantastic guests. That's Evangeline Mornings, weekdays 9 to 10 a.m. on UGN's Louisiana Television.